All right. I think there's some champagne in the icebox. Why don't you open it while I get dressed?
Okay.
Audrey Hepburn isn't just a silver screen legend and style icon. She was also a devoted mother to two sons. Sean Hepburn Ferrer and Luca Dotti each shouldered the challenge of growing up with one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. Did they follow in their mother's footsteps or find their own way? One son became a filmmaker and author, continuing his mother's humanitarian legacy. The other pursued academia before becoming a graphic designer and writer, determined to preserve his mother's memory. Today, we're diving into what happened to Audrey Hepburn's two sons, exploring how they navigated life in the shadow of a legend and where they are now. We'll start at number 2 and work our way to number 1. Number 2, Luca Dotti, the guardian of memories. Born February 8, 1970, in Switzerland to Audrey Hepburn and her second husband, Italian psychiatrist Andrea Dotti, Luca arrived during his mother's deliberate step back from Hollywood's spotlight. Unlike his older half-brother, Luca spent his formative years in Rome, where Audrey relocated to focus on family life. Growing up in Italy, he experienced a different version of his famous mother, less the glamorous movie star and more the hands-on parent who walked him to school and prepared his meals. His childhood coincided with Audrey's semi-retirement from acting, allowing her to be present for his early years despite her parents' eventual divorce in 1982. Luca chose a path distinctly different from his mother's entertainment career, initially studying medical science. This academic direction showed his independent spirit, perhaps deliberately stepping away from the artistic world that defined his mother's legacy. Yet the pull of creative expression eventually found him anyway. By the late 1990s, after his mother's passing, Luca had established himself as a graphic designer and eventually an author. His professional identity developed organically, balancing respect for his heritage with his own talents. The Italian influence of his upbringing and father remained evident in his work and life choices. In 2012, nearly 2 decades after his mother's death, Luca published Audrey in Rome, a photographic tribute showcasing previously unpublished photos of his mother during her years living in Italy. The book revealed intimate glimpses of Audrey's life when she was primarily focused on being a mother rather than a movie star. His dedication to preserving his mother's authentic memory continued with his 2015 memoir, Audrey at Home: Memories of My Mother's Kitchen. More than just another celebrity biography, the book shared family recipes and domestic moments, painting a portrait of Audrey as a mother who found joy in cooking and creating a normal home environment for her children. Today, Luca serves as the vice chairman of the Audrey Hepburn Children's Fund and lives in Italy with his family. He continues to be selective about projects related to his mother, focusing on those that honor her humanitarian spirit and authentic character rather than just her fame. Luca Dotti shows us that legacy isn't about replication, but thoughtful stewardship, finding ways to honor the past while living authentically in the present. Number 1, Sean Hepburn Ferrer, the bridge builder. Born July 17, 1960, in Switzerland, Sean arrived during the height of his mother's Hollywood career, the son of Audrey Hepburn and her first husband, actor and director Mel Ferrer. Unlike his younger half-brother, Sean's early childhood unfolded amid the bustling film world of the 1960s. He spent time on movie sets and was exposed to the entertainment industry from his earliest years. With both parents working in film, the creative environment shaped his perspective and future career path. His parents divorced when he was 8, but Sean maintained relationships with both while primarily living with his mother. By his teens, Sean had already begun working in various behind-the-scenes film roles, learning the craft from the ground up despite his famous lineage. This early immersion in production work laid the foundation for his future career. Rather than attempting to follow directly in his mother's acting footsteps, he found his own niche in production and direction. The 1980s saw Sean developing his independent career in the film industry, working as an assistant director and production manager on projects including Jamaa Fanaka's Penitentiary 3, 1987, and Whoopi Goldberg's Burglar, 1987. His approach was workmanlike rather than star-driven, earning respect for his skills rather than trading on his famous name. Following his mother's death in 1993, Sean took on the mantle of preserving her humanitarian legacy alongside his own creative work. In 1994, he helped establish the Audrey Hepburn Children's Fund, serving as its chairman and working to continue the UNICEF mission that had become central to his mother's later life. The organization has since raised millions for children's programs worldwide. In 2003, Sean wrote Audrey Hepburn, An Elegant Spirit, a deeply personal memoir that offered insights into his mother beyond her public persona. The book became a New York Times bestseller and showed his skill for balancing candor with respectful storytelling. His writing revealed the Audrey that few knew, the devoted mother who prioritized her children over Hollywood fame. The 2000s brought legal challenges when Sean became involved in a dispute with the Children's Fund he had helped create. The complicated case highlighted the difficulties in managing a beloved icon's legacy, even among family. Despite these challenges, he has remained committed to honoring his mother's memory in meaningful ways. In 2020, Sean executive produced the documentary Audrey, working to ensure the film captured not just his mother's stardom, but her humanitarian spirit and private character. The project demonstrated his ongoing commitment to preserving the complete picture of who Audrey Hepburn truly was. Today, Sean continues his work as a filmmaker and author, dividing his time between Europe and the United States. He remains active in humanitarian causes, having also established the Audrey Hepburn Society at UNICEF. In 2020, he faced a battle with cancer, approaching it with the same grace and determination his mother had shown during her illness. Sean Hepburn Ferrer reminds us that the most meaningful inheritance is not fame or fortune, but purpose, and the courage to carry it forward in your own distinctive way. When Audrey Hepburn died in 1993 at the age of 63, she left behind more than just a catalog of classic films and an enduring style legacy. For her two sons, born to different fathers and raised in different decades, her passing meant becoming custodians of an icon's memory while trying to forge their own identities. The world remembered Audrey the star, but Sean and Luca knew her as simply Mother, a woman whose priorities shifted dramatically from Hollywood to family and humanitarian work. How does one carry on when your parent belongs partly to you and partly to history? The stories of Sean and Luca reveal something profound about living in the afterglow of extraordinary fame. Unlike many Hollywood offspring who struggle publicly with their identities, Audrey Hepburn's sons have navigated their paths with a quieter dignity that mirrors their mother's own elegance. Perhaps this is her most enduring gift to them, not the famous name or the genetic blessing of her features, but the example of how to carry oneself with purpose and grace. Their journey shows us that legacy isn't a single inheritance, but a conversation across time. Both men have chosen to engage with their mother's memory, not as a burden to shoulder or a shadow to escape, but as a living tradition to interpret anew. They've become not just custodians of her image, but translators of her values for new generations, emphasizing her humanitarian work as much as her artistic achievements. What emerges from their stories isn't nostalgia, but continuation, The understanding that the most meaningful way to honor an iconic parent isn't to freeze their memory in amber, but to carry forward what mattered most to them. In choosing when to embrace the connection and when to forge their own paths, Sean and Luca remind us that the greatest tribute to a remarkable parent is to live remarkably in your own way.